Well, I mean, I don't even remember what year that Lost World came out, but when that I loved that movie when it came out because I was a kid. I was a really little kid, and man, let me tell you, my first fascination was dinosaurs. Man, I could tell you everything about anything that anybody ever knew about dinosaurs, man. I just loved it. I feel like no, not feel like dinosaurs definitely is the beginning of my nerdship, my nerddom, or however we could say that. You know what I mean?
That actually makes sense because for me, growing up, it wasn't dinosaurs. It was great white sharks.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes.
That is
I was
equally as
like,
cool and equally as
yes.
fascinating.
Yeah, and that's why I think I had less of a, I love Jurassic Park, the first one.
Mhm.
The sequel, Lost World was one of those. I was like, it's all right. The sequels didn't work for me in
Oh,
general.
well, yeah, and
Like,
after everything after that hasn't been that great either. Aren't they they're making another one, I'm pretty sure.
they're gonna keep making it until I mean,
Oh,
hey, if
yeah.
it's it's like, look, we're in a stage where for the past several decades or so, a couple decades, we're really there's just it's a safe bet to make a sequel. It's a safe bet
Yeah.
to make a franchise. So it money wise, it makes sense, but it's also kind of like the stuff that's
It's
getting me excited isn't your big budget movies this year.
yeah.
It's well, a couple, but it's Dune 2 is amazing,
You
fantastic
know what?
film.
I still hadn't seen Dune 2. And Dune to me, really interesting story. It's kind of the
Mhm.
books like they're kind of slow, but
Yeah.
I think because I mean the first one came out in 1965 if I recall correctly.
No, it was 19, well, actually did they, because David Lynch had what year was his? That was in the 80s, I think.
Well, I'm
Like
talking about the book.
you're talking about the
Yeah, the
book. Yeah, yeah,
books.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go back to that.
the books. Hold on, give me a sec. I'm gonna turn off this heater real quick.
Okay.
It's getting a little toasty in here. Hold on.
Yeah, I've never read the books. Oh my God.
All right, we
I've
had
never read those books.
had just a
None
little
of
too
them.
much toast going on. You
Too
know what I mean?
toasty.
Too toasty. Um, hold on. What were we just talking about?
Dune, the book, which
Dune.
was,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think Dune is a very interesting story. I mean, basically, it's kind of another AI takes over story, but like way later,
yeah,
way down the line, and it's just interesting the concept of non-thinking machines, but they still have technology. And then you got like the mentats and the people who are like, super thinking computers and all of that. Like it's just an interesting premise. And yeah, so but I haven't seen the second Dune yet.
have you seen the last film, the first part of this? Okay, you did
I,
see that
I
one. What
did.
did you
I
think of
did.
that one?
I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was I thought it did a good job kind of laying out the story and what you're really gonna be looking at.
Yeah,
Because to me, because Dune is again it's kind of it's one of those stories that you have to really be into plots. Like
yeah,
it's not particularly super exciting. It's kind of slow by design,
for sure.
compared to like maybe like a Star Wars. Like
Yeah,
Star Wars
absolutely.
is way more
Or a
exciting.
Marvel or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but I think, like to me, just like the full story is how it lays out. Paul Atreides or Muad'Dib, like at first he seems like this great savior, but it turns out it's like you have to juggle with that concept. Like he's a savior and a terrorist. And then he ends up, like down the line, his descendant, Paul II, who becomes the Worm Emperor. He's like a tyrant for like thousands of years for this grand plan. It's an interesting world to me. I like it.
I
Is
do
the
too. And
What about the second one?
the second one, I a lot of people liked it more
Yeah.
because it's yeah. Well, here's the thing: with the first film, it sets up the story, right? It sets up, and these are long movies. These are not movies that you can just go, oh, I'm going to go for the afternoon and have some popcorn and watch, whatever. Like we said, like Star Wars, like or like I don't know, some dumb comedy. these are movies you have to pay attention to. You have
Watch. You
to
gotta watch.
watch,
Yeah.
yeah, and listen and look. But I gotta say, Dune 2 is probably a little more on the. There's a lot more action.
Hmm.
It's a little more. I mean, it still has everything that made the first one so great.
Yeah.
But I think the one of my favorite things is I like where they're taking the characters. I like where they're going. I do miss Sting and the Speedos though.
Yeah.
They should just hired Sting somewhere and just thrown him in Speedos. But
Oh
you know,
yeah, Sting was in the original one. I forgot about that. Yeah, he was in the original.
gold Speedos, dude.
Hey man, Sting has made some unbelievable classics.
He
You know,
really has. Yeah,
he has though. He really has. I mean, a bunch of what's in my mind right now. What the shape of your heart is in my mind right
yeah,
now. Or
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he's got a ton of stuff. But
Yeah, he's got a new song out, which I'm not digging. It
yeah.
sounds rough, you
Well,
know.
he's been in the game a long time. That's kind of
Yeah,
how it goes. I feel like after a while, you kind of some people have were able to keep up with the times in
yeah,
terms of like the sound of the era, but I think too after a while you've kind of given what you have to give. You know what I'm saying? Like in
yeah,
terms of like and this is just kind of me theorizing, but I mean, I think naturally, like especially if you really spend the majority of your life trying and investing into your passions, after a while you have kind of gotten yourself out.
yeah.
So it kind of makes sense, but I'm kind of just blabbing right now.
No, I mean the thing is because we've seen, dude. I've gone to see a lot of concerts from, I got to see one of the last Chris Christopherson concerts, and I
Mhm.
mean there was a sad part where you're watching a guy that was legendary. The dude wrote all these amazing songs, and it was an amazing performer, an amazing actor, a really great actor, and you're seeing him on stage and they're kind of the supporting bands helping him, and there's a sadness to it, but there's also he seemed happy to be there. So I feel like you got to find the balance, because I've seen other older performers, like we saw one like Neil Diamond's last shows. It was amazing.
Mhm.
The dude was, I don't know, like he had to retire almost immediately due to I forgot what he has. He has something, Parkinson's, I think. But
Okay.
yeah, I think that I don't know. You have to know what you're expecting. You have to know, certain people are going to be amazing. Certain people are going to blow you away, and they've been at it for. I don't know what Sting's live performances now.
Yeah.
I don't know how the old songs sound, but he's pretty gravelly on this new song.
Yeah, hey, maybe. Well, one of the key things that you said that really stuck out is, want, wanting to be up there, wanting to do it, and that just makes a huge difference with everything. But yeah, no, I remember I got to see. I was a teenager, early teenager. Earth, Wind, and Fire. They
No,
came through St. Louis. Yeah, they still, man, they still put on a hell of a show. I was a little too young to really appreciate it the way I would have now as a more of an adult.
yeah.
But I can't remember what, man, this dude was hitting these high notes that could just shatter a whole glass stadium. I mean, they were on point, but it was like, oh man, he's definitely a professional for sure.
Oh yeah.
Now, hold on. Now we got to talk about your Porsche escapade today. How was that? How
It
was it?
was so I can tease you guys a little bit. I can tease the listeners.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, I went and drove really fast today, really fucking fast, over 100
Okay.
miles per hour.
Oh, you was
I went
really
to the
driving.
I was really driving. So I went to the Porsche driving experience for the new film. Oh God, what is it called? Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, which is easy
Okay.
for me to remember, Pantera. And I can't say too much about the movie. I can't say too much about the interviews, but I fucking drove a Porsche. This is my second time there. It is the
Yeah.
coolest experience, dude, because you get in with a driver and you just fucking drive. And they
Mm,
have this course set out for you, and he gives you they like, okay, when you run into this, you run into that, you do this, you do that. And honestly, dude, I was kind of killing it. I'm like, I've gotten pretty good at doing this stuff. I like driving a lot. I
yeah.
just me.
That's
I wasn't a fan of it, dude. I used to hate driving. Now I'm like, oh,
well,
give me.
you're in LA, man. You from LA, so I can. Yeah, it's no wonder why you don't like driving for real. Because every time you hop in a car, you're gonna be in traffic for 45 minutes plus.
Yeah, all the all the fucking time. But I guess it was I was making a lot of trips back and forth to Vegas and just getting in there, renting cars and taking a Mustang, taking a Suburban, taking all these big ass cars, and I
Mhm.
just got used to it, and I became a real fan of. And I gotta say, my driving has got. I'm a little fast,
Yeah.
little, so I gotta slow
Okay.
down sometimes.
Okay. It's better to be a little fast and a little slow, I guess. You know what
I
I'm
agree.
saying?
I
You know, you got to
agree.
get there a little bit quicker, and if you got good control, if you got good handle over everything, then it's all good. But
Yeah,
that's
no.
dope. That's dope. Den of Thieves 2
And it
Pantera.
is too Pantera, yeah, with it. And I gotta say, man, I, I, you know, Gerard Butler, uh, he's one of those guys that I remember seeing him in 300 and being like, wow, this guy's so cool. And he impresses me in a lot of ways because, again, he's not making this is not a 20 $200 million movie. His movies aren't big movies. They're lower budget. I mean, they have a little bit because they're still action films a lot of times, but the dude can sell a fucking movie.
Mhm.
Charismatic as fuck. He's just there's something and he's a really nice fucking dude. I just really like
Yeah.
him. And
Yeah.
I respect anyone. Like, look, we're in a business where whether it's online, whether it's movies, whether it's music, you have to do something that stands out. He's found his niche. He's made it.
Authenticity for sure. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Even if it's for the worst, authenticity goes such a long way. I mean, look who just got back in the White House. You know what I mean? So yeah, authenticity is a motherfucker for good or bad.
Oh
But that
yeah.
makes a lot of sense about what you're saying though, because I mean, if you have a smaller budget or whatever it is, you're not always gonna have everything and then some going for
Yeah.
yourself. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
And
saying? Like,
look, they went and fucking it was him, O'Shea Jackson Jr. and they made this little film, Den of Thieves, that ended up being a big hit. And
yeah,
not a big hit, but a hit, enough of a hit that now they have a sequel, they have a franchise, and I'm excited to share the interviews because they were fun. But
yeah,
it's one of those experiences where, like, I like the idea. I look, I'm not reviewing the movie. I guess I don't need to. I have a critic. We have critics for that, but there's sometimes movies should just be fun, and they don't have to be great. They can be silly. They can
yeah,
be terrible.
yeah.
And I mean, I guess we're kind of jumping into the idea of what's a so bad for so good movie.
Exactly. That's why I was saying what we got for the so bad it's good too. I think I've seen one of them. I've never seen Dude, Where's My Car? I actually never saw that. I've
What,
never seen that movie before. Like I never
dude?
actually saw it, but I remember Jason X and it just perfect pick. The first thing that came to my mind was when he had them girls in the sack. It was it was hitting them against that will always stick out in my mind.
Well, I mean, dude, because the part 7 had that iconic kill, and it's so great. And Todd Farmer comes along, and he's like, we're gonna pay tribute to that shit. We're gonna play.
Mhm.
And what I love about Jason X, I mean, look, this is a 10th Friday the 13th. You're not gonna make anything original. It's a guy with a
Yeah.
hockey mask, right? You're
Yeah.
like,
Eventually you gotta completely change the characters and the plot to yeah, absolutely. Kind of
you
like the
gotta do
Land
something.
Before Time series. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And it's like,
Halloween is the Land Before Time.
I think that with like these movies, like the Friday the 13th, the Halloweens, the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, the all Amityville. I think the Amityville series has about 100 and something movies.
Really?
They just randomly base Amity
Yo,
Dollhouse.
I did not know that.
There's a
Because
lot.
I mean, when did the original Amityville Horror came out? That came. I mean, that was that.
1970. I'm gonna say 77. I could be wrong. It could be 79.
Okay, yeah, something in me told me the 70s because I remember when they remade it. I
Oh,
remember
it
when they
looks
were
like the 70s, buddy.
yeah, because that's the one where the father kills his family, right? The
No,
shotgun.
that is the second. So the story without, Amityville, it was a couple who moved into the house. All this weird shit starts happening, quote unquote, and then you learn about in the sequel. They did a prequel. Amityville 2: The Possession was about the family before, and it was very, very exaggerated. Oh, there's my Jason. That's one of the best kills. We just that
This
right
one,
there,
oh yeah, yep. He
dude.
put his head in the what was it?
Just the
Dry ice.
cryogenics shit. It just
Yeah,
splat.
and then he just hit his head on the thing. Yep, that's when they defrosted him, right? Isn't
It
that
was
was
that's
like in the
it.
beginning?
Girl cute too. Remember?
You said it was in what?
She was a doctor. That's a chick right there.
Yeah, because she was thawing him out, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was sawing him out, doing
Yeah.
research, and then she's fucking like, oh my god, and she like every god. Okay, here's the thing. This is why this movie's fucking great. Why does he come back to life? Do you remember?
No, I haven't seen. I was a kid when I saw it. I remember bits and pieces of it, but all I remember from this particular part was that did they find him?
Yes, they what they did is this is a crazy movie. It's got David Cronenberg in it. One of the greatest directors of all time. Let's
Hmm.
be real. He's fantastic.
He just threw himself in there.
He's just like, okay, I'm going to be in this movie, and so it takes place at one point in space, and they catch the guy, and then but he kind of makes it so he ends up having to be trapped with the girl the quote unquote final girl that traps him. So then years later in the future, they find those bodies and they're like, oh, they'll unfreeze them. And she's like, okay, gosh, don't unfreeze the big guy. Well, we kind of already started. Wait, don't do it. But you know what wakes them up? People fucking. That's
Yeah.
what
Okay.
wakes
Yeah.
them
So
up.
okay. So basically they left him to chill there, and then
Mhm.
they went off to the side to do their thing,
Yeah.
and they okay, and then they
And
didn't pay
she's like just
attention.
doing her thing, and she was actually a decent character. I enjoy this movie a lot.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot.
this was a fun movie. I don't remember. I was very young when I first saw this. I don't remember exactly how old I was when I saw it. When did this come out? 2000?
God, I want to say 2000. Yeah, it had to. I think so. I
It
think
was
so.
something like that. So yeah, I was like 8, 9, 10 years old when I saw this movie. So like again, bits and pieces are there. But I remember the funniest part of the movie to me, especially in my 9-year-old brain at the
Mhm.
time, when I remember like Jason was in this field, and he it was like some I don't remember how he got there. I think it was fake, like these women were robots or something. And he was in this field, and they ain't have no clothes on, and they were smoking, and they were like, "You want some pot?" And then he like looked at them, and then the next thing you know, they're in a sack, and he's like slamming them against it.
Well,
He's
and they do, dude. They cover all bases. They're like, "Do you want to smoke some pot? Do you want to get drunk? We're gonna have sex."
yeah. That's exactly how it went
I'm
down.
going
And
to
then
say
like
this right now because look, Todd, the guy who wrote this, is a friend of mine. He's great. Todd is amazing. I love this man. He's a good dude. He knew what the fuck he was doing with this. He knew
mm,
what he was writing. It's not meant to be, ooh, seriously scary. It's a fucking Jason in space movie.
yeah, it's fun. It's
You know, like
fun.
there's when the guy falls on the big fucking screw thing, and you see his body going, and they're like, "Oh, he's screwed." Come on.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's not brain surgery, but it's honestly I think one of the most entertaining in the franchise. I really
You
do.
know, I think you're right, especially now that over 20 years has gone by since it came out, and
Mhm.
you have more of the franchise to look at. Like it's definitely one of the fun movies of it
We're still waiting for the
because it's not as
13th.
serious.
We're
Because
still
it's not
waiting
as
for the
serious.
13th movie, dude. Like I want a 13th Friday the 13th. We have a 13th Halloween. We don't have a 13th Friday the
Oh,
13th.
they gotta do somebody's gonna do it at some point.
there was a big there I think it's starting to work itself out. I do believe we're going to see a sequel at some point soon, but there's some license issues with the original writer and the original filmmakers, so they couldn't use Friday the 13th and all this. So there's a lot of hoops to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping they get their ducks in a row, because I'm like, yeah, you can't not do Friday the 13th part 13. You're already there.
Yeah,
Make
you
it part two.
and you know I hadn't even see this is why and you look like you could be my uncle too. You know what I'm saying? So like
Sure.
you big yeah, exact. We cousins. We
Yes.
cousins on the long haired cousins on this shit. You know what I'm saying? But I hadn't even really thought about that in
Yeah.
terms of it. Yeah, you got to have a 13th in the Friday the 13th series. Was the last one Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah, Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, I believe. No, no, the remake. The remake.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, I know of a lot of people that didn't like that one, but I think it's a solid flick. The first, especially the first 20 minutes are great, and
Hmm.
it's got a lot of weed in it. So I mean, it's there. You go.
Yeah. Now I don't think I saw the remake, but I do. I remember I saw Freddy versus Jason in theaters when that came out.
Nice.
I
I
did see that.
I got a story for you. When I first saw when we covered I think it was it was a remake. So the guy who played Jason, Derek Mears, and the writers and my cameraman Rusty, we walked through the Friday the 13th maze with Jason Voorhees.
Hmm.
And it was amazing because Derek is the sweetest, nicest guy. All these guys that play these serial killers are usually really cool.
Of course.
Like
All,
it's
all the the people who end up in the craziest positions be like, oh yeah, they're cool as hell.
Yeah, I mean the dude that plays fucking Art the Clown seems like he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a funny dude, but yeah, it was like going through and just I love that horror has become so. I think horror is one of those where audiences just can have a good time, feel good about the shit.
Hmm.
There he is. There's a man, David Cronenberg, right there. And this guy, I mean, this guy's one of my favorite filmmakers. I remember seeing this movie and like, why is he here?
Yeah.
But if you did you ever see Nightbreed?
No, I haven't seen that. Do I need to see that?
Yes, I would recommend it. It's weird as fuck. It's the
Well,
same.
then I definitely got. If it's weird as fuck, I need to see it. So
Yes,
I'm writing that down right now. Nightbreed.
look at the director's cut. It's a better cut,
Okay.
but it's definitely worth. It's from Clive Barker. It was his follow up to Hellraiser.
Oh yeah, Hellraiser. Yeah, with what Pinhead. Yeah,
Pinhead
yeah,
and
with
yeah.
Pinhead. Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I got that written down. I'm sure I can find it on well, I have almost all the streaming services.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, pretty
What,
much all of them.
what is your
Um,
favorite? What do you mostly watch?
in terms of the streaming
Yeah.
services, as of lately, I've been watching more stuff on Max because they have just a lot of series on it. You know, like a lot of like the Penguin stuff like Boardwalk Empire. I started that.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I started that. That's like about like the mafia from the 20s,
yeah.
and but they all have such different types of stuff on it. Like HBO seems to have more like cinematic stuff, and then Netflix has like documentaries and way more documentaries and stuff. Next thing you know, there's like my crazy ex-boyfriend documentary. Like they got a whole bunch of stuff like that. Good movies too. But yeah, I mean, like like stuff like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, like all that stuff's on Max.
You
And
know,
then
I have a confession. I've never watched Breaking Bad. I've never watched Game of Thrones. I watched like one episode of each, and I'm like, okay, yeah, they're
well,
good.
so Game of Thrones. I want to read the book, The Song of Ice and Fire.
Mhm.
That's the book series. I want to read that just because I want to read it, and apparently it's way better. There's a whole lot more stuff. And one of the I watched Game of Thrones up until like I didn't watch the last season that because that pissed everybody off.
Yeah, I heard nothing but bad about the season.
Yeah, like everybody was like like because the book series isn't finished. Um and I guess like like there's budgeting. I don't know. Like it seems like the writers were kind of like, all right, we just got to end this shit somehow.
Yeah, that's I kept hearing that. And it's look, it's hard to fucking end a series. Like it's hard to please everybody. But it
Mhm.
seems like that one didn't that have the petition to like a bunch of fans had the
Yeah. Yeah,
that
they were, and again, I didn't watch it, but it must have really been bad because they were really mad about it. The first several seasons, that is good television. It's
I've heard it,
definitely good.
yeah. Well, I think that happens way too often. I think there's
Mhm.
that, the writers have this idea and they're like, okay, oh my God, we have this great idea. We're going to run this season. We're going to 2 seasons, 3 seasons. And then suddenly they're like, oh, we got to continue this. What are we going to fucking
Yeah.
do?
And you know, another thing too, in regards to that, sometimes I think knowing when to end a story is so important.
Yes.
And like, so you remember that TV show? It was on Netflix called You. It was,
Yeah, I never watched it.
so the first season was so cool, but it was like y'all should have ended it because like everything, at least in my opinion, like
Mm.
the seasons after that just got a little bit too fantastical because like it's basically it was a story about this guy named Joe who's like a serial killer stalker. He's like
Oh, okay.
obsessed. He's like obsesses with people. But it was real interesting the way they did it. Like they kind of went through his pathology and how he thinks and how he works and how he controls everything. And but it was in like a real world setting.
Mm.
So like eventually it's like this, like this has to stop eventually. And then like he ended up getting involved with this woman, and so, like, in order to keep the series going on, it was like, oh, well, the
Mm.
woman's also a serial killer. And then, like, and then people from his past who you thought were dead came back. So it's like, oh, y'all doing too much now. At least for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that, because it was like it went from a really well thought out, realistic story to like real
Yeah.
fantastical. So it was like, and I get why they did it because they had to keep it going. I think they had 3 seasons. But
Yeah.
yes, knowing how to end something is important, but also knowing when to end something is important. And I plan, and I'm working on writing some fictional things.
Oh,
And
nice.
so yeah, so we'll definitely talk more about that because I'd like to do way more of that.
Oh, that
Because
dude.
politics, I mean, like, I work in politics and it's great, and there's so much good that I plan to do with it. But in order for me to do a lot in politics, I got to do a whole bunch of other stuff, and
Don't blame you, dude. It feels like I don't work in politics. I don't have to talk about it, and I'm finding myself needing a break at the moment.
oh yeah, yeah, man. I wish I could. Like honestly, I'd say, and I'm only speaking for myself, but
Yeah.
I think you have to kind of have some type of base level of anger to really work in politics, and you have to keep yourself there. Otherwise, you don't really, you don't want to stay in it. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
like justified anger, and it doesn't have to be out of control, but like identifying injustices and identifying things like, for instance, like our health insurance system.
Yeah.
um how much can you really work towards changing that if you're not upset about it? But I don't want that to be my whole career, just being pissed off all the time. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot, dude. It's so much energy. I mean, but here's the thing, man. And there is some kind of we're in the age where everyone is pissed off at everything. So even you do a movie review, a song comes out, you have so many. I don't know if I love this kind of. Let's face it, the negative shit get that they get the hits in general. That's just there's something about that, and I don't.
True, yeah.
I don't particularly love that. I feel like it's like, it's nice to see a nice story. It's nice to see something people are celebratory about. I think that's cool. Obviously we need to be aware of the shit that's going on and what people are trying to get away with, and we the people, whatever, we need to be involved, period, because it's pretty fucking important.
And
It's our
because we
life.
can be.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we can be. Yeah.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
there's just so much more going on in life. There just is. And
Yes.
honestly, especially as somebody who works, like, um in the political media space, it's entertainment, and it really is. Like it's especially when you're dealing with a network, and
Yeah.
our overly capitalized system makes incentives to make everything about profit. And
Yeah.
so that's why one of the bigger issues with our mainstream media is the focus is ad dollars,
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
end of the day, which can skew a lot of stuff. But yeah, no, there's just so much more going on,
Yeah.
including the stuff like what we're doing. And one of the things that I really like about fiction in general is how much you really can do with it, because you know what, man, if you really digest the human entity, we're just we're in a lot of ways we're nothing more than the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Like every day we wake up and subconsciously we try to prove ourselves right. And we have a difficult time with being wrong. Not about little things, but like, oh, my point of view is incorrect.
Yeah.
So, and you can be a humble person, but it's just, like, again, where does that dissonance come from?
Yeah.
Story you tell yourself, because we're social beings, and I mean, and what are the stories we tell ourselves? It like, are people mostly good? Are people mostly bad? Is it safe for me to love other people? Is it not a good idea for me to love other people? What's cool? What's not cool? Who am I? Like, all of that is really just a story, a fictional story you telling yourself. That's more or less true, or not true at all. You know what I mean? So that's why I think fiction is so great, because it's just what we are. Like,
Yeah.
how much can you learn from a good from like character development in a really well written story? You know?
Absolutely. Well, hell, you can learn character development from shitty movies too. You can learn things from bad movies. You can learn
Yeah.
things from everything. I think I love that attitude, because I do think that there is kind of, yeah, you're right. We do kind of create our own realities, and we're like, well, this is, it's like when I've been obsessed. I think I mentioned this last time we talked, but like the cop cam videos are fascinating to me. I've just been obsessed with those, and it just you watch about 10 minutes of someone saying, no, I fuck you, no, I'm not doing this, and fighting and stuff, and then they finally get the cuffs on, and then they're like, oh, but you just pulled me out of the car, I was doing nothing. I'm like,
Hmm.
really?
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
doing nothing?
Yeah. Yeah. The narrative. You know what I'm saying? The narratives. Yeah. That's a really good example of that.
Yeah, we lie to
Sure.
ourselves all the time.
And again, it's fascinating. It really is, in terms of what we really are and how we really operate. And you just really can see that you do so much with that, in a good story. I mean, the themes and things along those lines, including, like you said, bad movies. Now, you gonna have to tell me more about this, because I mean, this is a movie I feel like I should have seen, but I just never did.
Should have. It is Dude, Where's My Car is dumb. It's dumb on every level. It's Ashton Kutcher. It's one of my favorite people in the world, Sean William Scott.
Mhm.
I love that dude. Fucking love that dude.
He's
I'll
cool.
tell
He
you. We'll
cool.
get into
Cool
that
dude.
later.
Okay.
That dude is, talk about genuine and authentic. That's him. Um, this is one of those movies. I mean, there's a scene, and I don't think this will spoil too much. It's a little spoilery for a movie from 20 years ago or whatever, how old this is.
Mhm.
Um, they get a tattoo. They don't realize they got a tattoo. You can see this online. So one was like, dude, you got a tattoo. Dude, you got a tattoo. Both of their tattoos say dude. And it's on their back, and they keep, it's just, it's like Dumb and Dumber with stoners type of, they
Yeah.
just
And
so
very, very early 2000s.
really and
Yeah.
look, I'm not generally a Ashton Kutcher fan. I think he's fine, but I don't think he's a great actor. I think he's very, and you
I think
don't
he's good at
obviously.
from what I know about him, he seems to be a good businessman in the
Yeah,
space.
that's it. He knows how to produce, and that's why he's still in the business and doing his thing.
Mhm.
But they had chemistry. These two were funny together. And
Mhm.
I mean, look, Sean is fantastic in the American Pie movies, which
Yeah.
I don't know, those would piss people off today, right? Wouldn't
Oh
they?
yeah. Oh, there's so much stuff that. Oh yeah. But you know what though? I think that the culture is always oscillating, and I
Yeah.
think that we're moving into an era where you know uh, several things. For first and foremost, I think movies are about to be good again, overwhelmingly, because you can't wow people with special effects the same way that you
No.
used to. So like we got to get back to good writing, which is good. But also in terms of stuff like this, how you mentioned, like movies from the early 2000s, late 90s cause all types of cancellations today.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that we're I think like quote unquote cancel culture, however you want to say it, is going to slightly relax. You know what I'm saying? Not totally, but a little bit because look at the environment we're in. Come on.
Yeah, no, it is very much a no, we get over your shit. Yeah, fuck your feelings kind of
Yeah.
thing going on right now. And
Yeah, so it's that just it's but hey, that leaves some doors open for some good movies like this. So
it does. I look, movies like, we were when we were talking about doing the show tonight, we're talking about movies that we that are dumb, that are silly, that we enjoy, that people enjoy. There's so many. Freddy Got Fingered is another one. That movie fucking terrible.
man,
Terrible.
you're the man because all of
Oh,
your picks are just perfect. Like
yes.
these picks are perfect.
But then you have like movies like, you say movies are getting better. And honestly, I don't think maybe I wouldn't have agreed with you last year. Maybe I would have been like, I don't know if they are. But I can honestly say it's been like, there's a few movies coming out and I'm blown away. I'm
Mhm,
blown away. This year, the movies I've loved, like that I think are genuinely like the bike riders here,
mhm.
they feel timely. They feel like they could be in another time. They feel like something like I'm going to preview because we can say this now. I can technically review Nosferatu. It's one of the most gorgeous, one of the most stunning films I've ever seen in my life.
Mm,
It is haunting. It is, and this is technically a remake of the classic Max Schreck film, Nosferatu. Lily Rose Depp gives a stunning performance. I've liked her before. I didn't expect her to be this good. Everyone involved is great.
mhm.
And they so yes, we have the silly movies. We have the movies that are the dumb comedies. We had a couple of those this year too. I saw recently with The Gutter, which is about bowling, and that's kind of silly. But then we have movies like this. There's something spectacular about this is what I like about movies. This is what I love movies. I want to be transported.
Mhm.
This here, Nosferatu, I was transported, dude. This is an absolutely compelling film. I've seen it twice. I've been very lucky. And I can't I think I can't stop thinking about it. I want to see it again. You gotta come out.
Hey,
We gotta go see
I
this.
trust you. I trust you, and I know your taste is on point. I
Yeah.
mean, you were right. I mean, well, I've known it's on point anyway, but I mean, just with how we vibe with our conversations and our taste, especially with the penguin, I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
speaking
can
of the
believe
best
anything.
ending ever, that last episode of The Penguin,
Oh my god.
perfect.
Literally perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, when I first got a little glimpse of Nosferatu, I haven't seen it because I'm not as cool as you are. But but I was interested immediately.
Yeah.
It just seemed like this is probably gonna be really good. And I think some of it was because I mean, like the full trailers kind of recently came out. So this was like months ago when you really couldn't see much of anything about it. The black and white, how it's filmed, as you said, it's a beautiful film. I think that really got my attention. Like this just looks really good.
Yeah.
And Lily Rose, um, I don't think I've ever seen her in anything, but I've been seeing more of her, and her
Yeah.
girlfriend is like kind of like rock starish and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
like she just seems like an interesting person. And wasn't her mom a model?
Yes, yes, yes. The mom
They
is a
look
mom.
they look like spitting image of her
She
mother.
does, right?
Yeah, like literally a spitting image of her mother. But and then from the trailers that I saw, she seems like she's coming into her own. Like she's probably gonna be one of the actresses
This film will
going
put her on the
forward.
map. This
Yeah.
film will I'm going to predict right now this film will get her an Oscar nomination, and I think she could look, some of the best performances of the year by far have been from horror.
Mhm.
Lily Rose Depp, the the girl from Smile 2.
Yeah, yeah, I can't
Um,
recall it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like
And
blanking on her
she's been
name.
in some stuff. She's been in a few things, but I hadn't really not that I really have seen or caught on to, but she was great in that.
She was great. And then, of
Great
course,
in that.
then I don't know if did you catch the first Omen?
No. What, the one that came out in the 60s?
No, the one that came out this year. It's a
No.
prequel.
No, no, no. That's
Watch it,
good too? Okay.
dude,
Okay, because
dude.
I've seen the one that came out in the 60s.
Okay, yeah, no, it was 70. I think it was
Oh,
70.
70s. Okay.
Yeah, no, and trust me, dude, give this one a watch because it's Nell Tiger Free is the lead in it. Again, you talk about great performances, you talk about Oscar worthy performances. She
Mhm.
should get it. She should get nominated. But my prediction is that out of all of those people, Lily has the best chance to actually get nominated because this Nosferatu is rare in the sense that it is a film that it's being released on Christmas. They know what they're doing. This is an Oscar film. Just as it deserves to be nominated for Best Picture, Best Script, Best Screenplay, simply because Robert Eggers is a director that takes care. He pays attention to the story. This is a film he's wanted to make all his life. He's wanted to always tell the story. You can tell there is not a single moment in this film that feels like it doesn't belong
Mhm.
at all. And it's
It's his movie.
it's his movie.
Mhm.
And the
That's
fact
that's awesome. That's all, the way you're
I
describing it is awesome. Like, just so many things came together for this story to be told in just the right way with just the right people at just the right time.
yeah, and it's similar in a way to the Penguin in the sense you have villainous characters, but they're not evil. They yes, they're evil, but there's something I don't know. It doesn't feel like just ha ha ha. I'm going to get you. Ha ha ha. It's not like that. It's really legitimately they're going through their life. They're layered. It's not just Bill Skarsgård or whatever his name is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. I mean, the guy. Of course, he's going to be great. He's brilliant at Pennywise, especially
Mhm.
the first film. This one, my God, the guy is. You saw a person, a character, and it wasn't just oh, let's be spooky by the big scary guy. This is a real human character that fits in the world. Is he scary? Fuck yeah, he's creepy, but he's also I don't know. It's different. This feels like a movie that, like the Bike Riders, came out of a different time. It doesn't feel like a modern movie in a way. It feels like something maybe we would have seen in the 60s. There's the Hammer horror kind of feel. There's something about it that is
It's raising the bar. It's really
it is.
it's really raising the bar.
It is. And look, we haven't seen horror does not get Oscar fare. It does not get that kind of thing that we've once in a while you'll get a Silence of the Lambs or something like there's Max. Um, once in a while you'll get that or Shape of Water, which is not horror but fantasy sci-fi. I think this film is going to get it. I think it's very least it will be nominated,
Mhm.
very least, because it should, it
Yeah.
simply should. Like
Yeah.
if you're talking about great works of art, I can't wait for people to see it. Like I've been wanting to talk about this movie for
Yeah. Now I remember when you first mentioned that how good it was when you saw it, you were excited about it. And like I said, the very first whatever, I don't even remember what the first thing that I saw from this was, but immediately it was like there's just something about this that I was like, I know I want to see this, but it just seemed like it just seemed like it was everything that you're saying that it is.
Yeah.
And again, if the Jimmy stamps on it, then you can trust it for sure. Now,
Uh,
have you seen the original?
yes, yes. Horror
Of
is my
course you've seen it. Of course you've seen it.
always.
Basically,
I
is what you're
Yeah, I went
saying. Of
through the
course you've
phase
seen
of
it.
like Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy, all of that stuff. I love that stuff.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's not this movie though. The original Nosferatu, I think is quite terrifying.
Yeah.
Just because look at the guy,
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah, he
Christ.
look yeah, he looks like, yeah, let me go the other way really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like that commercial that I keep seeing online where you see like Leatherface coming down and someone like moves across the street and then Leatherface is walking and the girl from The Ring comes and he's like, I better go over here.
Yeah.
Whatever's scarier, he's pretty goddamn scary.
Mhm.
You
And
know,
didn't this come out in, like, the '30s?
yeah. No, I think the 20. No, I think earlier. I think early
Yeah.
20s
Like,
or
the first, like, one of the this is one of the very first motion pictures.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very early. I believe it was a silent film. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it's like yeah, because there was also the remake with Isabella Johnny that came out in the 70s, I believe,
Mhm.
which I haven't seen for ages. I saw that when I was young, so I don't really remember it.
Mhm.
But now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I should go on a Nosferatu kick.
Now, speaking of now, Imma have to see this first one too. I'm sure I can dig it up somewhere. Imma have to watch it,
Oh, it's a
especially
very
now that we doing this. You about to have me watching all types of stuff that I'm
good,
excited for. I'm
good.
definitely excited for it. And like I said, one, I like this type of stuff, and two, I need it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
need it because my politics job is gonna keep me mad for a while. So I need a little balance, you know.
Yeah, I think it's
Um
gonna keep us all mad for a little while, buddy.
Now, speaking of the Mummy, now the one that came out in what, '99 or something with
Oh, yeah, the
Brendan
Brendan
Fraser,
Fraser.
that's one of my favorite movies ever,
Where
especially because of when I saw it, like, I was a
yeah.
real little it's a fun movie, it's just fun.
Well, it's really like I'm in the camp. I wasn't a huge fan. The
Mhm,
effects didn't work for me. But Brendan Fraser is always likable. So you
yeah,
got that. You got his energy. But I do it was a very good mix of like in the modern action movie at that time
mhm,
and a little tiny bit of horror. A
yeah,
little tiny bit. It
yeah, a
wasn't a
little bit.
scary
So
film.
so the original was just a straight horror movie.
Yeah, more along the lines of horror. I really like the original. I think it's really unique and really cool. And I mean, obviously, it's been parodied. I don't know if there's a movie from, I feel like it's 1987. I gotta work on my dates when we do the show because I always forget this shit. It's called Amazon Women on the Moon. And
Okay,
it's a bunch of like
and it's a
comedy
parody?
parody skit, and they have one scene with I think it's got Ed Begley Jr. and he plays the Invisible Man. And so they do a whole thing like he's Invisible Man, except the problem is he's not. So he's just walking around naked, and people are like, "Oh no, that glass is moving." They're just humoring him the
Yeah.
whole time. It's fucking hilarious.
That sound like, oh, what are those movies called? I don't know why.
Scary movie,
Yeah,
airplane.
yeah, like scared like yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, like Scary Movie and stuff
Oh,
like
dude,
that.
totally. And but it also had the R rating, so they could get away with a lot of shit at that
Mhm.
time. It's fun. I think Michelle Pfeiffer's in it. There's a huge the cast in this is great. I don't know if it's even available.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I'm familiar with that one, but
One of the
I know the for me, the Mummy was like one 'cause I mean, in '99, I was, what, 7? Or so I was
yeah,
born in yeah, not no, I was 5.
Jesus.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
born in
this is a
90 oh
perfect
god, I
movie for
cannot
you though.
add. I was 5 or 6 or some shit like that. I was born in '92.
Yeah. No, of course.
I was one of those, but it was I was one of those. I can't do basic math, but,
When was the I gotta ask you this. How old were you when you first saw your first like horror, like straight horror?
um, you know, so the now when I was younger, I would watch like Tales from the Crypt and stuff like that. and
Nice.
like Goosebumps, real kitty stuff. But I remember though when I was 12, I saw The Exorcist.
Oh, yes, I did know that. Shit.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
god, that's
Now
amazing.
that's in terms of like real scary movie. Man, that movie scared the shit out of me, man.
You know what's weird about The Exorcist? It never scared me as
It
a
didn't?
no, it
Really?
only scared me as an adult. You know why?
Yeah. Why?
I don't I don't really believe in possession. I don't it's one of those things I think it's more usually mental illness, and I know that's reportedly based on a true story. But then again, I never say never.
Yeah.
I've heard some shit that I'm like, okay, I've seen some shit that I'm like, okay, that's weird. But what scared me is the fact that it was about a mother's desperately trying to save her daughter. And that
Yeah.
was so heartbreaking. That the scene that really bothered me and just made me so like uncomfortable was simple. When Linda Blair comes downstairs at the party and says, "You're all gonna die" or whatever, and she pisses herself.
Mhm.
I was like, that's could you imagine being a parent and having that happen?
Yeah, like how do you even respond to that?
Yeah, you
Like
can't.
what do you how do you help? How do you well like you don't even know where to begin to
Yeah,
to help or anything like that.
yeah, and literally you got all these people. I mean, it's those kinds of things are scary to me because it's like, wow, those are real shit. That's real. You don't want to see your kid in suffering. I mean, and of course the kid going back and forth and spitting up whatever, vomiting up
Yeah.
the green puke. Yeah, that's scary, but there's something I love psychological. I love when you deal with the mind, and I think there's something really fascinating about that because horror has the ability to open doors that I think a lot of movies can't. Comedy
Mhm.
too. They can take on very serious subjects. I mean, and say something without maybe taking a little saying a little more than the filmmaker really would. If they did in a drama, people would be like, "Oh, that's offensive. I can't watch that," or whatever. But
Mhm.
horror, I mean, there's so many. I know we talked about doing a Buffy episode at some point.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that guy, dude, that show got serious at
Mhm.
times. So I respect that, and I think that's why I've always loved the genre. It's just so interesting to me.
I'm really glad that that we're talking about this movie because I mean when I was 12 I wasn't looking at it from that perspective at all.
Yeah,
It scared me because of just how it was made, and at the time I grew up in the church and stuff. So at the time my views on like spirituality were very, you know, very simple.
yeah, for
We're,
sure.
we're, we're very simple and very fear based. So that was like, oh God, that's gonna happen to me. But but from that, but again, from that perspective of a mother who desperately wants to help her child but doesn't even know where to begin,
Yeah,
she ends up with these priests and she's like, she doesn't really like, what am I really doing? Is this real? Like, how is this actually happening?
yeah,
And I'm glad that we're talking about it because that's another example of how much you really can do with fiction.
yeah.
Like how and two, I like how you said you want to be transported. How that really can transport you into a situation like that. In fact, I want to watch the movie again at some point soon because now I can look at it more from that point of view. And you're right about how outside of like maybe the general special effects, the shock value, really putting yourself in the character's shoes and to like, what would this actually be like?
We
Like,
should do a whole episode on just like we should definitely do because look, there's a reason why movies like The Exorcist, The Shining, Halloween, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a reason why people are still talking about them.
mhm,
People are still affected by them, and I think that's interesting to me because that's
mhm.
like how there's a lot of movies that just get forgotten. They got forgotten. They movies just get forgotten, and
Yeah.
and no one really cares. But for some reason, I think this genre has really become something special, and it's because it's consistently good.
Mhm.
I think it's the past few years, it's proven to be very successful by taking chances and doing weird shit, but also creating the fun shit that people like too.
Mhm.
But The Exorcist is, I mean, it's a gold standard, dude. It's a gold standard for horror. I mean, it's a fantastic film, and just the story behind it and how they got pretty creative with shooting those effects. You
Mhm.
know, it
Yeah,
didn't
no,
feel
they really did,
unexpected.
especially came in the '70s, so everything was, practical effects.
Yep.
Man, I remember that scene where she came crab walking down the steps and then threw up blood and stuff. I was like,
Which
"Ah!"
they added that years later because that wasn't in the original
Oh,
theatrical
really?
release. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. That I believe that was the they because they remade it, or not remade it, re-released it years ago with a couple of added things in it. And I got to admit, man, when I saw when I went to the theater to see it, I was so annoyed because the audience members were laughing at the whole thing. I was just like, God damn it. Just
Yeah.
watch the fucking
Yeah, they weren't really into it. They were just there to have yeah,
and I
yeah.
get but at the same time I do get it. Like we're used to pretty amazing effects, and we're used to movies that are just quick and don't, they just jump in, and especially with horror, you see a movie like that where it takes its time and it's not gonna, oh my gosh, I know people that hate Halloween, hate Alien because it's boring or because they it's too slow, and I'm like,
But that's but again, I think we're kind of getting back into that because that's what allows you to be transported.
yep,
If you're not just having a bunch of stuff thrown at you and flash at you, like you really have to get into it. You
yeah,
really have to put yourself in it. And I mean, I can imagine how different the going to the theaters, that experience is like now versus, like 70s, 80s. I mean,
oh
really up until modern, just the digital age. Because I mean, even in my like up until not that long ago, going to the movies was like a much bigger event than it is now.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it used to be like the big thing. It would be look, if you want to have fun, go and look at audience. You can find it on YouTube. Go and look at audience reactions to the original Halloween. They have audio recordings. It's cool.
That'd be
People
fun
are
to check
serious.
out on one of our coming episodes,
We
audience
should.
reactions, and talk all about the theater.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
absolutely. Because yeah, the theater going experience has changed, and not in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't really have to go anymore, but
No.
at the same time though, if they keep making movies like this new Nosferatu, then it can be that whole experience again. Because you can go to the movies and have dinner,
Yeah.
like you can
Yeah.
do all of that in movie theaters now.
Yeah.
And so if because kind of the age of Marvel, that's kind of dying out.
It
Like
seems like a yeah.
yeah, like not like Marvel itself, but that style where it's like, oh, just boom, boom, pow, and throw everybody into the movie. Like
Mhm.
that's not enough anymore. Like we
Well, it's
got to
like
get
anything
back to
else. Trends in movies, there's movie trends, and it's like, oh, okay, this is popular for a while. Like, look, I'm blown away at the success of Marvel. I the what Kevin Feige did, what all those guys did with that, and because when I was growing up, superhero movies were kind of
not that
you had the
great.
occasional Superman, but then you had like I don't know, I can't even think of the Affleck one. Oh my god, the Punisher. But was he? No, not the Punisher. Daredevil.
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 Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it
The
did have
first
an awesome
Daredevil.
performance from Colin Farrell. He was fun in that.
Oh
But
yeah, he was Bullseye.
yes,
Yeah, he was Bullseye in that movie. Yeah, I remember that. I
I
saw that
love
movie
anything
in
that guy
theaters as
does. I
well.
love Colin Farrell.
Hey, you know what? I remember one of the movies I saw with him. Well, a few years ago now. Where he's in Ireland and his friend doesn't like him anymore.
Yes.
The Banshees of something of
Yeah.
Ishrigan or something like that.
Yes. Yes. He's this.
It's like a stage play, kind of.
It is, but it's
Yeah,
so entertaining because they're so good.
it's interesting. It's just an interesting movie about about boring ass life in Ireland when the Civil War was going on or
Yeah.
when some war was going on.
Yeah.
And then his friend was like acting like he was too good to be bored.
Exactly.
And then, yeah, no, that was the Banshees of Ishrigan or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
there you go, there you go.
that
Yeah,
yeah,
another there's something about that, and I think they look. cinema, I mean, movies are never gonna I mean, well, never say never, but they're never gonna die. I mean, the
Mhm.
theater experience though will have to change, I think. I think we're looking at a time where it's too expensive. There are a lot of, AMC and some of these places are trying to have you pay a monthly fee, you get a certain amount of movies, which is great. But I also feel like theater, I hope that theaters kind of stop just playing the same movie as over and over again, and open
Yeah.
themselves up to other forms and other stories. Look, I'm going to go see Nosferatu again. I will pay to see it.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
going
I
to
might see that movie. I'm definitely seeing it. It's on Christmas Day. It's coming out.
Christmas Day.
Oh
Christmas
yeah.
Day.
Hey, I might mess around and see that movie that day. Definitely within the first few days for sure, because I
Oh yeah,
really want to
yeah.
see it. And that movie's definitely worth going to the theaters for,
Oh
especially
yeah,
based on everything that you saying.
yeah. And dude, it's like, look, I love a challenging movie. I love going to see a movie. I just saw The Brutalist, which is
Mhm.
a 3 hour and 35-minute movie about
Damn.
an architect played by Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's his name.
And
Mhm.
I gotta say, my expectations weren't high. I was like, oh gosh, I'm not in the mood for almost 4 hour film.
That's a very long film.
But it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's kind of amazing. I mean, it's like, wow, this is really, I don't know why, but I'm so complete because there's a little history. It's almost like a fictional account, a fictional history of an immigrant that escaped from Nazi Germany.
Mhm.
And it's such the performances are all stunning. I don't know, it's really weirdly watchable, and it's magnificent. Oh yeah. It's just a beautiful film.
So,
Beautiful.
and to, I mean, that sounds like going to like something on Broadway. They
Yeah,
got
I
like
did. I mean,
an intermission or something like that.
they did.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
saw with my buddy, and we saw it in 70 millimeter, which is, God, I love that. I miss the cigarette burns, man. I miss this, when that pops up when they have to change the reel. I love that.
Mhm.
I love that because most movies don't have that now. They just do digital.
Yeah.
But so we got to see it, and we had an intermission. It was lovely. It was probably one of the, between that and Nosferatu, it's two of the best movie going experiences I've had in a
Okay.
while.
Okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to check this one out too.
It's long, and it's like, that is a movie. Yes, pay the fuck attention.
Yeah. And like, I like movies like that though, and especially too,
No,
you giving it the Jimmy stamp of approval.
no.
Then I'm gonna have to go check that out. When does that one come out?
Let me double check because I believe it comes out in a couple weeks.
Okay.
I think it's probably going to have its Christmas release, and then it's, that'll then they'll push it out after the new year because that's how they do all the Oscar flicks. They're like,
Mhm.
for it to be considered for the Oscar, it has to have some release in that year. But like even Nosferatu, it's not opening everywhere. They're going to open that up wider the new year. But
Yeah.
this one, the Brutalist, I believe comes out. I'm going to give you guys a time. Brutalist comes out, if I can find it. Yeah, it's coming out pretty soon, I believe, and I'm not seeing a date. Damn it! Oh my god,
It's all good. I mean,
it's all
if
good.
I don't know why they wouldn't want to be in the runnings for an Oscar. So
Yeah, okay. It's got a January release, but yeah, they'll be releasing it for they'll be pushing for Oscars. It will be
okay.
coming out like in LA or New York, that kind of thing. That's their
'Cause
usual MO.
wasn't Adrian? Hold on. What wasn't Adrian Brody in another movie similar to this?
He does it. He's good at this shit. He
It
does the
was
Oscar, the pianist, the
yeah, the pianist. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He. It's weird. Like, I've interviewed him twice before. I'm actually talking to him for this film.
Mhm.
Um, I've never talked to him for one of his Oscar films. I've always talked Splice and one of the Predator movies. So this is kind of refreshing. I get to actually talk to him about I don't know. I think a movie that has a lot of, there's something about, and it's movies like this aren't made for everybody. There's, like we said, there's some people, they just want to see stupid.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. If
Yeah.
you if you're like, oh gee, a 3.5 hour movie about an architect, I can see why. Look, I can see why someone is not on board with that. But
Mhm.
I've always been a fan of taking chances with movies. This is why I don't even watch trailers to an extent, because if I'm covering a movie, I get to see it early anyways, rather just experience it. I
Right.
know the basics of it, but then I go in and then I can do the research, and then I get the history behind it. This movie just, it had me floored. I did not expect anything. I expected a long, boring movie, and it ended up being really a masterful work. It's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely be checking this one out too.
No.
So, but yeah, no, Nosferatu. I'm definitely taking a date to that movie for
Oh
sure.
man, dude, you gotta come out here for a movie. We
Oh
gotta.
yeah, for sure. Let's going into 2025. I'll have the means to come out there. And there's so I mean, a lot of my, including this, a lot of my industry and work is out there anyway.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
so yeah. Well, all we got to do is talk about that, and we'll make it happen for sure.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
But cool, man. I think I had a fantastic time in this episode.
Dude, me too. Oh,
Man, this is great. This is only our second time doing it, but like I mentioned, I've been talking to a couple of other gentlemen who, one of them is really into anime, another one is really into comics, and just cool people. So there's gonna
yeah.
be a lot for us to cover and discuss and just do with this. So
Yeah.
I continue to be very excited. I'm grateful that we were able to come together to do this. And yeah, brother, I'm what day? Oh, it's Tuesday. I'm
Tuesday, yeah.
lo-
We're gonna come
yes,
back for next Sunday.
yes, next Sunday we'll be back next Sunday.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got a couple more. I'll be on TYT on Friday
Nice.
and Monday. And yeah, yeah.
You
So
kick
cool.
ass on TYT, by the way. I like.
Thank you.
I used to watch you there, like, but I got a lot of my news from you, my friend.
Oh well, I'm glad, and I'm ready to keep on doing it. I'm definitely ready to keep it up. And
Good,
yeah, so I'll get this out probably tonight. I'll probably just put the whole thing out and do other clips. And I got to check out the editor thing that you sent me.
cool.
I got that. But cool. We're gonna go ahead and close out now, and then we're just gonna keep on keeping on.
You know what? Let me see if my wife's available. See if she
Okay.
wants. I want her to say hi to you.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. Go
All right.
ahead.
All right. I'm so excited because she's the one who got me into you, dude. Oh my chair. Uh, Jackson, this is Vanessa. Vanessa Jackson.
Vanessa. What's up, Vanessa? How you doing?
All right, how's
Me
it
and
going?
I'm good. I'm doing really well. Me and Jimmy been kicking, and I'm really glad we were able to come together to do this. This is a good time, and it's only our second time.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
nice. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, she watched the first episode, so she's already watching.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome.
Better.
Yes, I told her about your mom. How
Oh,
was
thank you. Oh, she's good. Yeah, well, see, one thing I've learned about women is y'all are just better at dealing with pain than we are. So, pretty much like as soon as she got back from the hospital, she's pretending like nothing happened. She's recovering well. She's eating a lot more than she was able to.
good?
That's
Yeah,
good.
but
I'm
she's
glad to hear
doing
that.
yeah, she's doing well. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she was like, make sure. So yeah, that's why I keep asking, man. I went through it. It's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I don't have to do it, but we'll see.
I know.
We'll definitely see. I've had my share of stuff, but I'm just getting started, I suppose.
Well, I'm glad y'all are having fun.
Yeah, definitely. Great meeting you.
Good meeting you too.
All
All
right.
right, man.
All
Well,
right.
yeah, I'll see you Sunday. I'll let you know. Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff I'm doing too. So I've got the Nosferatu interviews next week. I got oh, this is my cat, Zach.
This is Snacks in White.
This is Vanessa calls him Snacks and
Oh,
White.
that's Snacks and White. What's up? I gotta have to bring my cats down here. I don't know if they're being a little shy right now. I got two. I got Yakko and Dot, like Yakko, Wacko, and Dot from the
Oh, how
Animaniacs.
cute. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yakko's the boy, Dot's the girl.
We have Zach and Rita.
Yeah, so the kid named him Zach after Zach Efron. But
Okay.
I call him him Snacks and White because he's just so good looking.
Oh, we're good. Don't put my name to waste. Is that one? Is she cool or is he a pain in the ass?
Oh, he's
He is.
He's a pain in. He's
no,
cool.
he's lovely. He's a
Yeah.
Oh,
sweetheart.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
good.
no,
Yeah.
he's just a big dude. So if he gets like spicy, you're in trouble. Because he's got like these claws like a polar bear.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, no,
anyways.
Yakko's cooler than Yakko's more social than Dot. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool,
no,
yeah,
he's very
cool.
social.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's very social. And then the other one, she's just all sass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same with my boy and girl cat here
Yeah.
too.
Anyways, want to say hi.
All right, Zach.
All right.
All right, brother. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out,
Cool.
and then yeah, well, I'm sure we'll be texting each other throughout the rest of the week.
I can't wait, man. This
All
was
right,
a lot of
cool.
fun.
Hell
Wait,
yeah, I had a great time.
Me too.
All right, brother.
Bye.
Bye. Hey now. Thank you so much for tuning in here at Politics and Paper. If you like what I do and you support my work, go ahead and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it and really helps to support what we do here.